Hello everybody, and today we're going to be creating the base for a simulator game. So in our simulator game, our end result, you'll be able to click a button, which will give you money, so that you can upgrade stuff, and then once you get enough money, you can rebirth, just like other simulator games you might have played before. To start off, we need to actually get a money system in our game, so make sure that you have the Explorer open on the right. If it's not open, then go into View and click this very first button. And then, right here, when you find Server Script Service, click the plus button and insert a script. Now, make sure that it's open by double-clicking on it. And you can remove this because we won't need it. And then put local data store service equals game : get service data store service, and this will get us the data store service, which allows us to get data stores, which we'll do now, because local data store equals data store service : get data store, and then whatever you want. I'm just gonna put data store. So this will get us a data store that will store our money, and that way it saves. Now let's actually get started with the saving and the loading. We're going to do game.players.playerAdded : connect function player. And this is a function that fires every time that a player is added, which means that every time a player joins, we can load their data. So in order to load the data, local leader stats equals instance.new folder, and then we'll do leader stats dot name equals, in quotation marks, leader stats, and this will create a folder that we'll put our data in. Now we just need to make sure that it's in the right place, so we'll do leader stats dot parent equals player, and this will put leader stats inside of the player. Now we need a variable to store our money, so we'll do local money equals instance.new, and then integer value, or int value for short. Then we'll do money.name equals money, or whatever you want it to be called in your game. And then money.value equals data store : get async player.user ID ... and then we'll put money. Then so this will set the value to the data store sync that we set further in this line, in this code. So later in this code, we'll set the data store, and then we can get it here, which will be loading it in. So we'll do money.parent equals leader stats to get in the right place. Alright, this would load in our, oh wait, I forgot or 0. Put or 0, that way if the player doesn't have any sync set for this, it'll default to 0 money. Okay, now we need to create a function to save the data, because this one loads the data. So we'll do function save data, and then player, and this will create a function with the parameter player, which means that every time this is fired, it gives us a player that we're going to save the data of. And for now, all we're going to put here is data store : set async player dot user ID ... money, and then comma player dot leader stats dot money. And this right here should be the exact same as this right here. Okay, now that we have a function for saving the data, we need to actually make it be fired, because this function isn't going to be fired in its current state. So we need to do game.players.player removing : connect function player and then just a tiny bit of code, save data, player. So this will find the player that's removing from the game or leaving the game, which is right here, and it's going to fire this function with that player, which means that it will save the data of the player that's leaving the game. Now, this will save any time that a player has left but the server is still open. But if the server is closing, it won't work. So we need to make it work if a server is closing. So game:bind to close will do that for us. What bind to close does is that when a game is about to close, when a server is going to close, it gives us time to do one last function, which will be saving data. So we'll do game or for I, player in I pairs, game.players : get players. And then we'll hit enter and it'll automatically do this. So what this will do is it'll cycle through every player, letting us do a few lines of code for every player, which all we'll do is just save data, player, which means that for all players, when the server is closing, it'll save their data. Now let's test it out. Now you'll see an error happened, and the reason why this error appeared is because we haven't actually published this game, which means that it doesn't let us use Roblox's data stores. So we'll click File, Publish to Roblox as, or sorry, you can just do Publish to Roblox, and then I'll just name this Simulator, not really anything that you need to do. And I'm going to turn off Team Create because I'm not going to be creating this with other people. But if you are going to do it with other people, then you should turn that on. And now I'll hit Create. And you can see that it's published. And now, if you go into Game Settings, in the Home tab here at the top, go down to, I believe, Security, and enable these two right here, these will allow you to actually use data store. So now that we play the game, we'll see in the top right we have our money and we have no money. But if we go into the server and change our money to say 100, you can see we have 100 money, and when we leave, oh, hold on. Oh yes, I've messed something up here. You can change the dot money, but also to add a dot value to the end, because this dot money is it's a variable, but it's not the actual value of the variable, and we need to get the value of it, which is why we have to put a dot value. Now, if we just quickly do that again, and make sure if you're setting your player's money, you do it when this says current server. And you can, if it says current client, just click on it to change it to server. Then change your money in the Explorer, and then stop the game. You can see that right now it's taking a bit of time to close because it was saving our data. It says this, but since we aren't going to send any further requests for these keys, we'll be fine. It won't. This at the bottom you can just ignore if it appears. So now you can see we have 100 money. So now we have a money thing. We have to actually, now that we have that, we have to actually make a button to get money. And for now, all I'm going to do is just make a quick button. It'll just be in Starter GUI. We'll put a screen GUI right here in Starter GUI, and then we'll put a text button, and I'll move it down like right here. Just center it real quick. And then adds a script into the text button on the right. This is going to be the text button. When we click it, it's going to be what gives us money. So all we have to do is script.parent.mouse button one click connect function. Right, there we go. And then we need to actually change the player's money. So we'll do script.parent.parent.leaderstats.money.value equals, and then just copy this and paste this and then add a +1. And the reason why we have all of this stuff is so that we can actually access the player's leader stats and their money, because we need to find, because this is inside of the player, the script, but it's far down, so we have to actually get to the leader stats from here. So now that we have that, when we play, you can see every time we click, our money goes up by 1. And you can see it's not really that good. It's actually off-center. And it doesn't have that good graphics, but we'll work with that next video. But you can see money's going up. We leave the game. It saves. We rejoin. Money's at the same value. So yeah, this is the first part of our series, and by the end of the series, you'll have a completely functional simulator game. So thank you for watching this, and bye. I'll see you next time.